Okay, hello and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel in the first place. Today we have our 7K special. So basically, it goes in order of stuff, and I kind of had to skip ahead to find the apologies, but in between this you got kidnapped, so that's kind of where some of that context comes in. So I don't think every single scenario is completely accurate and like as a response to the arguments that you guys had last time, but I believe there are a few, so I hope that this is enough. Yeah. Izuku Midoriya, listener's point of view. Izuku was really patient with me once I had been discharged from the hospital for like the 5th time, and I couldn't be happier with him again by my side. He ended up tutoring me on all the lessons I had fallen behind on so I could pass the next semester, and I was honestly really grateful. "If a villain starts to attack in public, what do?" he asked, reading a scenario from the textbook. "Immediately get pedestrians away from the danger and assess the villain's strength. If they're stronger than you, then protect the bystanders until the pros arrive," I replied while I stretched lazily on my bed. Izuku smiled back at my laid-back reaction and sat on the edge of the bed as he began questioning me more about the types of quirks. I giggled when he settled his head on my stomach and asked me a rather random question. "How much do you love me?" he sighed, snuggling into my tummy. I smiled at him and played with his soft seaweed hair. He knew how much I loved him. Hell, I took him back even after all the bullshit we'd been through. "I love you a lot, Izuku, you know that," I hummed, putting my book down. He stared up at me and smiled. He hovered over me and kissed my lips softly. His velvety once against mine really made me smile. I loved how touchy he'd been since I returned. "I never said it, but I'm sorry for the fight. I'm sorry for everything I said to you," he sighed, snuggling his face into the crook of my neck. "Please forgive me, my hero." I giggled and kissed his ear softly. "Silly seaweed, you've already been forgiven." Katsuki Bakugou's point of view. I need to apologize. I have to suck up my pride and apologize to my baby cakes. How do I show that I mean it, though? Once we had established ourselves as a couple again, I still felt like I owed listener an apology, and at the same time, a gift for everything that they've been through lately. "Ew, it's the wet Pomeranian." I looked down to see your little shit of a cousin. Seeing him brought back so many memories. When he was with his mom, and that's when I thought of the perfect idea. "Excuse me, ma'am, can I borrow your kid for a bit?" I asked, stupidly unaware of how out of context my request was. "Excuse me?" your aunt cried, scooping Shiro up quickly. "I need the brat's help to apologize to my baby," I continued, only seeming to scare her more and more. "He's listener's boy toy," Shiro admitted, enjoying my social awkwardness. "Are you gonna help me or not?" Time skip. Once I had the gift, I was able to go back home to listener with Shiro on my shoulders. I had to apologize, and I do it now. You were pretty surprised to see me with Shiro, but it was all part of the plan. While you held him in your lap, I kneeled down in front of you with a little box in my hands. "Listener, I want to make you a promise that from today on I'll protect you and be by your side whenever you need me. I love you, and I'm so sorry for everything." I smiled, placing the promise ring on your finger. Your face blew up in an explosion, but your goofy smile proved how much you loved it. Denki Kaminari, Denki's point of view. I continued to hum a soft tune while the sunset painted the orange sky. My lovely listener's head rested on my shoulder as they hummed to the tune. Once I was done playing, I pressed a small kiss to their forehead and hummed their beautiful name. I miss these moments so much since we separated, and I know your whole ordeal was that you were feisty and stubborn till the very end. You were never a quitter, and you weren't ever going to start. "Hey, Den." "Yes, my miraculously gorgeous, wonderful, beautiful, I'm sorry." You finished your sentence, leaving me at a loss for words. What did you need to apologize to me for? I should be saying sorry for not being there when you needed me. If I'd stayed in the hospital with you, none of this would have ever happened. Why are you telling me sorry? I'm sorry for not beating up your brother and staying inside when your mom forced us apart. I rode stamping my feet as I stared into your misty eyes. I was mad. I hated seeing you upset. I kneeled down in front of you and wiped away your tears before they fell and pressed a kiss to your soft lips. I never wanted you to be upset when I'm trying to apologize to you. I'm sorry for making you cry. I'm sorry for being a jealous dork. I'm sorry for turning into a kid and not spoiling you sooner. I'm sorry for not stopping Zero sooner. Babe, I'm sorry for everything. I explained, kissing you with every sin I committed. You smiled at me and kissed me back in joy. Ojiro Kirishima, Ojiro's point of view. Listeners smiled as they jumped into the hidden lake I had found on a mission one day with Fat Gum. It was a simple cave no one had explored, and the walls glowed with a calm bluish-green hue. You splashed around happily like a mermaid, and I stared lovingly at you as you smiled at me. Come on, Eiji, jump in. I smiled and tossed off my shirt before cannonballing into the lake. You smiled as my jump created waves and drifted you away. You giggled, seeing my red bangs covering my eyes as I emerged from the water. I pounced on you, driving us both underwater, where I kissed your sweet, delicious lips. We both emerged, giggling against the banks of the lake. We hadn't had time for ourselves in a very long time, and here we were, as loving as before. Thanks for the sweet surprise, my sweet sharky boy, they giggled, kissing my lips lovingly. I smiled and kissed their shoulder before nibbling lightly against their skin. You hummed in delight. I lived for making you feel good. I would remind you of how much I love you forever. But I owed you an apology and a thank you. Hey honey, there's something I need to tell you. What is it, Eiji? I got lost momentarily. Their eyes were so beautiful, and I was almost at a loss for words. I'm sorry. I choked out, unaware that the tears had begun to fall from my face. I continued to repeat those same words through my tears, but each tear made you feel worse. Babe, it's okay. I know you mean well, but if you apologize, do it with a smile and not tears. I love you, Ojiro. Tenya, Iida, listener's point of view. Your boyfriend just showed up at my house apologizing to me. Did he ever do something to me? I'm so confused. Send help. My cousin freaked on the other side of the phone. I laughed at her overreaction, but I didn't even know what Iida had went off to apologize to her. Why would he need to apologize to her? He's apologizing to everyone. Send help ASAP. I think we broke your boyfriend. Why was Iida doing all of this? Was it because he felt guilty about our fight before my disappearance? Guess I'll have to wait for him to get back so we can talk about it. Hey, I'm home, my brother yelled, entering the Tenya home. Welcome back. How was dinner with Mom and Dad? I teased. They couldn't believe I was alive and cried, apologizing over and over and over again. But I'm already 19, so it's not like I have to live with them. But it's nice hearing their apology, meaning that they regretted their mistake this whole time. My brother smiled. I walked off into the gardens, and I had a lot on my mind. Is Iida apologizing to my family now because he felt guilty after I was kidnapped because of our breakup? Maybe because everyone is getting back to normal, he finally found the chance to apologize to them? I'm home. Iida called from below, smiling up at me. I smiled and fell out of the tree just to be caught in his strong arms. I smiled and hugged him tight. I know you heard about my actions. Now there's just one more thing for me to do. Iida placed me on my feet and kissed my lips. I'm sorry, listener. I love you. Hitoshi Shinsou, Hitoshi's point of view. After a long ordeal, listener persuaded me to meet a therapist for my incident with the villain. After I came to terms with myself, I realized that I had grown a fear of being touched by someone. Listener respected that and kept their distance from me when we were together, but I hated it because I wanted someone to hold and cuddle like them before. You were patient, kind, caring, everything you were before and much more. I'm heading out. Bye, Toshi. You called out, quickly pressing a cheek to my lips before I could realize it. Once you shut the door, my body started trembling from your touch. My mind and body shook out of fear, but my heart shook out of love for you. You try your hardest for me, even after everything that's happened, and yet you still found it in your heart to forgive and love me. I don't deserve someone like you. You can forgive me so easily, and yet I can't even muster up the courage to apologize to you and hold your hand. I wish I could just use my quirk on myself and force myself to not be afraid anymore. Tiger, I have to say sorry. I love them, and I don't want to watch them suffer anymore because of me. I sighed, banging my head on the side of the table. Tiger purred and pawed my phone towards me. I held it with a shaky hand and quickly dialed your number so I couldn't turn back. Hello? Your voice sounded from the other side. Hey, listener. Hi, Shinsou. Look, babe, I'm just so sorry. I want you to know that I love you, and I'm sorry for being such a wimp. Okay, so I think that was one of the ones that didn't really match up, but personally, I would never forgive a cheater, but that's just me. Yeah. Ojiro's point of view. Today was the day of the tournament. I waited patiently for listener to arrive at the dojo so we could go together. Deep down, I knew they were still furious with me for taking team captain, and today I'd make it right. I'd apologize to them for being a spoiled brat and make everything right. The fur on my tail fluffed up in excitement, meaning that you were nearby. My face lit up in a smile when I noticed you entered the dojo. You giggled as you ran up, and I hugged you tight while smothering your face in kisses. It's so good to see you again in the dojo, I admitted, kissing you sweetly. I've missed it here, and you, of course, you giggled. Now, let's go win a trophy. The whole way there, I held your hand in mine, and although you didn't find it weird, so many thoughts ran through my head until we arrived at the stadium. Everyone in the team smiled seeing you there. Your best friend Maki cried as she held your hand, complaining about how you left her. You smiled and wished everybody good luck as you tried to take the lead. And where do you think you're going? I asked. To sit down and watch? I don't think so, Captain, I smiled, seeing the shocked expression on your face. I handed you my duffel bag, and inside was your uniform and supplies, that way you could fight. You stared at me in pure shock, almost afraid of what was going on around you. I pressed my forehead against yours and chuckled at your innocent expression. This is my way of saying sorry for being a jerk, and not saving you. Win this for us, Captain. Got it. Tamaki Amajiki. Tamaki's point of view. Listeners certainly struggled with the pain in their shoulders due to the attack, but they were happy nonetheless to be here with me. I became their personal nurse, making sure that they were eating enough, sleeping enough, and comfortable to avoid any unnecessary pain. Fat Gum would also often come and visit us, finding you laying on my chest while I played with your hair. Doctors said you had to avoid any unnecessary pressure on your back until you were completely healed, and I made sure of it. I love you, Angel, I prayed as they placed a kiss on your cheek. You hummed in response, and you were napping right now. I smiled, taking in every new detail about you. When I was stuck as a child, I didn't really admire you like I should have. Your hair was much shorter now, probably due to your abuse. You had scars and scratches all over your beautiful body, and your new quirk seemed to be the most beautiful of all. Your markings looked like tattoos against your skin, and the unique color complemented your beautiful skin. You probably endured so much, yet you still took care of me and protected me. You'd make a great parent in the future, and honestly, I hoped you would be the parent to our children. You are an amazing, beautiful, and courageous angel. I love you so much, listener. I'm sorry for not saving you and being so annoying. I know I'm not as bold as you, but I wanted to be better so that way I can prove to everyone that I deserve you, I admitted, nuzzling my head into the crook of your neck. You hummed in your sleep while your arms wrapped around your hips. I'm so sorry. Neito Monoma, Neito's point of view. Mr. Vlad gave us some time to relax after our ordeal, and you kept close to watch me due to my lack of control with Zero's quirk. I loved being pampered by you, and you deserve more rest than anyone else, yet you still wouldn't sleep. I noticed that if you did sleep, it was only for a few minutes, and then you were up again. It was most likely due to your abuse during your kidnapping. Come here, I said, extending my arms out to you and offering you a hug. You hesitantly entered my arms and hugged me. I smiled and kissed the top of your head, as you let out a content sigh. You need to get some sleep. Come on, would you like to take a nap together? We could if you'd like, I offered, cuddling my cheek against yours. You answered me with a no, but I refused to listen to you. I lifted you up into my arms like royalty and carried you to my room. You flailed around in my arms trying to escape me, but with a firm squeeze of your thigh you stopped and squeaked. I gently laid you down on my bed and held you close, only for you to tremble in my arms. Neito, I'm scared to fall asleep, you sighed. I held you close and frowned. I'm so sorry, my love. I love you, and I'm sorry I couldn't be there to protect you. I know you're scared, but it's okay. I'm here by your side. I love you so much, my beloved listener. You sighed and held me close, but I ended up nodding off before you did. I'm sorry, listener. I'm never going to let you suffer again, I promise. Thank you, Neito. Shoto Todoroki, narrator's point of view. Shoto lay lazily on the floor while Fuyumi played with his hair. He was pondering several thoughts, but he mainly wondered how he'd apologize to you for his comment during your first fight, and not being there when you needed him the most. Big sis, how do I apologize to my beloved? He asked nonchalantly. Fuyumi grinned in joy and quickly scooped Shoto into her car and drove up to the flower shop. He explored the many arrangements, but none really seemed to reflect his feelings for you. He smiled, seeing some white tulips and lilies, but what caught his eyes the most were some white roses. Fuyumi noticed the loving smile on his face as he pulled some of the roses and primroses, and several purple flowers. As soon as the bouquet was arranged, he raced to your home to see you. You had been painting, and he had caught you during one of your messiest projects, but in his eyes you were still beautiful. Hello, beloved, I brought something for you, he smiled, kissing your forehead softly. Your face lit up to the gorgeous white and purple arrangement in his hands. You gently took the flowers from his hands and enjoyed their sweet scent. Shoto smiled, seeing how happy you looked, and rested his forehead against yours. Listener, I'm so sorry for what I said before, during the time when I was pummeled to the pervert for touching my sister. I never should have said what I said to you, so please. You watched as Shoto kneeled down and placed his forehead against the floor as he pleaded for your forgiveness. Please forgive me for my shameless behavior and let me repent for it. He kneeled down before him and raised his head. You've already been forgiven, my darling. Alright, so that's the end of this one. I hope you enjoyed. Again, I know it's not exactly the, makeup that you wanted, but I hope it'll do. Either way, I hope you have a great rest of your day, night, whatever. Discord link, music link, and fanfiction link will all be in the description. Goodbye!